This show is proudly brought to you by the #Me Network.
Righty then, we're rolling.
We are ready to rock and roll, buddy.
Kia ora and welcome, and thanks for tuning into our 20th Access Granted podcast, the weekly Kiwi tech show and media podcast. I'm Raj, my background's in film and media and design and tech.
And I'm Mike, and my background is information wrangling, connecting people and change management. You're here because you're a Kiwi that either works in or has a great passion for tech or media in New Zealand.
Episode 20, let's get our focus on for the week and the events you can't afford to miss. Lock and load. Right, focus for the week. Well, mine I came across this week, which I've known for a while now, but I was speaking to a Mac operator I'm hiring, and her skills and stuff came into question. She's been away from the industry just for a few months, taking a break, and she and I had a chat about the fact that her skills are becoming more mainstream, and there's less and less need for her broader skills like laying out pages, all that kind of thing. All the specialist stuff, the copy vetting and the actual artwork design, vector artwork, all that technical jibber jabber is still needed.
Well, so the creative side.
Creative side's still needed.
Actually being able to draw, but not being able to push the buttons and the
That's
thing.
right. So now I've noticed there's apps like for example, there's 99 Designs, right? You can get a logo made from some muppet overseas, and people are using it, which is surprising. You've got Squarespace for web development, You got iMovie and things like that come out for video production, and then I saw Owen Williams tweet today they were shooting a Steadicam movie on his iPhone 6 Plus. So I was talking to this person, and we noticed there's less and less sort of the overall skills that we used to have and were in demand. They're coming more mainstream. So I've got people in our office who can jump on InDesign, make a quick change on a file.
Yeah.
So wow, no one would even try that back in the day.
Is that because it was all black magic before, and no one really knew what that was about?
Yeah.
Or is it because the tools themselves were actually hard to use?
They were actually, yeah. I mean, you compare Photoshop 2 when I started to CS Suite now, it's come light years ahead, It's still quite complicated for the average user, but, you can jump onto Photoshop Elements or GIMP or anything like that.
Yeah.
And make stuff, you can do it. Even if some of it looks flash hairy, you can still do it. And I noticed the same thing with video production. People are shooting on their little phones and making videos and stuff like that. That's what YouTube's all about, right? You just load it up and off you go.
So the tech now has got more powerful, but it's also got easier to use.
That's it. It's way easier to use and simpler. There's simple controls for certain things. Hey, you want to make this? That's it. Done. I mean, that's how Instagram, became Instagram. Life's easy. Yeah. And so the guys like myself, I don't use Instagram because I'm thinking, well, I could do that in Photoshop in 2 seconds. But still, there's everyone out there that doesn't. And now
so you applying a filter, you mean? Yeah, I want to make this look like it's from the 1970s.
That's right.
There's a button to do it, as opposed to...
there's a couple of filters and a bit of photoshopping and layers and a couple of masks, whatever. And there's more of a process for me to do it in Photoshop. Because I know it, it's okay. But average users can just go to this one button, one app, go, there you go, hit button, filter, number 40, done. So that's what came up this week. I was thinking, there's more and more of it's becoming mainstream, which is cool because then more people are more empowered to do stuff, But some of the guys. It reminds me of the guys back in the day who used to use scalpels and pens and cut out and write and draw for newspapers.
Oh yeah.
In film and use actual film and stuff like that. Those skills went, in the 80s and 90s, disappeared because everything was computer and digital. So now it's going one step further than that. It's becoming more mainstream, even more so.
So, again, it's the tools themselves are sort of becoming mainstream, as you say, and anyone can use them. But to get away from the flash Harry stuff, that's when you need to be creative. You need to be a person like I can draw and I can use the pen and paper, or I can use the tools, but it's still going to come out as a stick figure.
That's right. Yeah, you still need some sort of creative component. Yeah, a human element. Yes. You still need that. Also, you need and
the skills to do that as well.
Yeah, the skills.
Not everyone can draw.
That's right. Yeah.
Or create or design.
That's what I've noticed the same thing with my handwriting, right? As soon as I've started getting more digital, my handwriting's gone to hell, So I noticed a lot of people are in the same boat. But I think, you got to keep those skills going or maintain them, otherwise, you're going to lose them. And then in some cases, like I looked on the Note 2, you can scribble whatever and it translates it to text anyway. So,
So is that a thing that you've noticed recently? Oh, you had that conversation.
Conversation more in my industry than before, because it used to be, people can make videos, bad luck, guys. But now more and more people can actually lay out stuff in the design app or something like that, even though it'll look rubbish-ish, not judging, but from creative director's point of view, it's a bit, whatever.
Fighting for your role.
Yeah.
Oh no, you still need me.
That's right, yeah, because they still need a design eye or some sort of creative element to it. But it's an interesting time. So I noticed that more and more in our industry too, where I've got an account manager who says, just show me how to do that. I'm quickly doing it. So here you go. Here's how to make a PDF out of InDesign. Done. Now they don't bother me with that, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I used to do that back in the good old days. And now they can actually jump in, add some text, use a style sheet and style it, hit save, export as PDF. So this is great because now I can worry about my creative stuff. They can do bits and pieces stuff, But there's a fine line. I think eventually, we'll see how it goes. I think there'll be hybrid roles where you'll be doing both. Everything, which I tried once at one firm.
Well, it could change. I mean, back in the day, there was stacks and stacks of accountants with sheets of paper that would add up columns and columns of information, and then we got Lotus 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you don't need those people to do that. It went to the accountants themselves and say, well, you can do it yourself. And so the roles changed.
They evolved.
They evolved, yeah. So
that's right. That's basically what we have to do. We evolve. There's still need for all those specific skills and anything anyway, but
I'm sure their fight back will happen though.
Yeah.
Oh, you were saying it there. I can hear it as you're talking. It'll be crap. Ittle be awful.
Well, I've had
just
a
because you
friend
can
of mine
who
went to 99 Designs and thought, wait a minute, I could have just tuned you out a logo if you wanted one. And then they got one, and it just looks so, like everybody else's on that website. It just looks so bad. And from our point of view, it's like, it's not unique. It's not you. They haven't thought about you. They don't know you. They haven't taken the time to understand. And they just tune out this logo. And some people are happy with that because it's, really cheap. And some aren't. And most of the people that aren't are people, the guys that are in our industry, I think.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, no, you can't do that. That's not very good.
It's supposed to be our magic wizardry. You can't do that.
Exactly. And the clients go, I don't care, mate.
I just want a $5 logo. Yeah. So, I'm now noticing that more in our industry as well as, the video industry and others. And then even in IT, right? Some IT stuff. Like IT, I think, will always be specialist. Highly specialist, but there's still parts that people can do themselves.
Great, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Chuck someone an iPad, give my dad an iPad, and he's all good now. You know,
used to be box huggers and people to love the servers and upgrade them, and then you go, give it to Google, give it to Microsoft, give it to Amazon. They've got box huggers that will do it for the world. Yeah. So you don't need them.
Yeah. So that's all it is. It's just the evolution of mankind, basically. So it just hit more home this time around because really cool. You found it hard to find work because of those skills you've got that are, some people have got those already.
Right. Well, we should ask people out there listening: is that something that you know about? Tweet us.
Yeah, if you've had that experience, or if your industry's changing up somehow, or your specific part of the industry.
And the only way it really affects, and it'd be good to know from other people that go, that I noticed that trend as well, or that is something that is happening in my industry or in my business or wherever you work. It'd be great to hear because there's the people who are being trained, the young'uns that are being trained, of course, could be stepping out of university or wherever they're coming from, college, into jobs that don't actually exist anymore. Or are about to disappear.
That could be quite highly
true. And that's the dilemma that the education system has, of course, is it's such a fast-moving industry now with tech that they train for something that doesn't exist when they come out.
Imagine year 1 till year 3, and when they get out, the big difference already out in the industry. Half that stuff's redundant, right?
Exactly. Or it's disappeared somewhere else, or it's changed, or it's morphed. So that's we'd love to hear from people out there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome.
And what did you find out? What did you have?
Well, the big one that was probably this is not news. This is everywhere. Was the Kathy Sierra put up it's not a post really. It's a page. So it's pretty hard to find. She talks about her experience with trolls that she had. To be fair, and I read a few articles about this, and I was listening to Twig the other day, and trolls is such a nice, charming wee word that doesn't really describe it, and people are starting to say it's not trolling, it's actually abuse, or it's
sinister,
threatening,
more sinister, right?
Threatening behaviour. Let's start calling it what it is. But Kathy Sierra put up that's it. I'm leaving I'm not actually leaving the internet this time, but she closed down her Twitter account go read Kathy Sierra's story. She's sort of, it's not through her choice, but it is the highlight of not the pinnacle, the shining light on this is what can happen when the internet is given to everybody. And as Leo was talking about on Twig, I thought the internet would be this panacea of goodness and everybody
The great equalizer, right?
Yeah, the great equalizer, and it would be fantastic. And if they were bad people, they would shine the light upon them and then they'd fade away.
Now they've got more of a voice.
Yeah, exactly. And don't feed the trolls. And now he's saying that's just bullshit. Because in certain circumstances, that's not going to help. There's two parts to it. There's one, the trolling behaviour. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
I think people just need to vent, and they have to find ways to do it, and this is how they do it. There's particular more tech-savvy venters,
Yeah.
And, people that like to make other people miserable for some reason.
Yes. I think it's definitely that there's levels of it. There's people, as you say, want to rant, and then there's just psychopathic people who have found another way of making people causing harm. Digital stalking.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, the second part that Kathy talks about, and she talked about the Kool-Aid effect, I think she called it, which was, it wasn't really against her as a person. Now, obviously it was, and it was a personal thing against her and her family, and some of the horrible, just disgusting stuff that she had to put up with. But she sort of sat back and analysed it and thought, well, what is it? And it really comes down to, in her mind, and I agree, that it was a how dare you as a woman be someone that other people are listening to, particularly in a tech sphere, and whether it's just she generalises that even more too. It's not just about being a woman, but how dare you be someone that is taking
just being vocal about
attention,
something, right?
taking attention and having attention upon yourself where I don't think you're worthy of it, and then they will then cut that down. And it's a wonderful, wonderful read about the psychology of the people that take that and see the world as unfair. It's not fair that person, and particularly in this case a woman, seems to have this influence. And I don't want that, and I will take that away from that person. And I then will use the internet and all its tools in however I will do that. The women in tech thing is something that's been bubbling around for a while now, and we talked about it at Tech Ed, about just how many or how little women were there.
Yeah.
Michelle,
You could count them on maybe a hand or two.
Two hands of attendees. Michelle put up a post about, there was 13% women speakers. So I thought there were more, but that's because I probably went and saw the women speakers. Therefore, when you buy a Volvo and start driving around, what do you see on the roads? Volvos. That's all you see.
Yeah.
So that's probably why I thought there were more, but it seems to be not. It's a bizarre thing to have to still have this conversation about why are there so little women in tech, and not just in tech, but at all levels of tech. Diversity comes into mind then, and this just goes back to Owen Evans. We've had Owen on the podcast, and he did 2 talks at Tech Ed. And we've got one coming up, not from Owen, but we've got Andy Wigley coming up in this podcast from Tech Ed. But Owen talked, he did one very technical. I have no idea what he's talking about. I didn't go to it.
I went for a few minutes, but then I had to go. But I found myself not understanding a lot.
And that's fair enough.
Because it was for the guys that do the things, you know, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And I just went because I know the guy and it's interesting to see what he's up and how he speaks and what he's actually going to talk about.
Yeah.
But after a while I noticed, okay, this is stuff, I haven't even heard some of these lingos at all, and it's time to walk away.
Well, fair enough. But the other one he talked about was diversity. That was his more softer one, I suppose. But they would say it's a softer skill, people. But in my experience, bloody hard. Computers are the easy part.
That's right.
It's the people that
are the variables.
and it's hard to truly understand. And he talked about diversity, and one of his lines was, if you've just rolled your eyes because I put the slide up about diversity in your workplace or in your team, then you're the problem.
Oh, I like that.
And that was a great line. And it's fascinating. I've been thinking about, I'm a man, I'm a white, I am the classic white male, middle-aged.
You're middle-aged.
At the end of middle-aged.
You don't look it, right?
My bouffant hair. I'm sitting in a chair, or I could be sitting in chairs at offices where that could be a woman. Mm-hmm. So there's, talk, but what are you going to do about it? And I don't know. What I really want people to do from this is go find, and we'll put it up in the not in the show notes, but I've tweeted it, and we'll do it again. The Kathy Sierra page is not a post, so you won't be able to find it from her blog post. She hasn't linked to it, so it's But Google it, you'll find it. Go read it, and then for every male who's, I don't know if you say every troll, because trolls aren't going to listen and go, oh, wow, I wish I'd read that before, now I'll stop. That's very
You're trying to win hearts and minds of trolls.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, is it? Yeah, exactly. But every male should go and read it, and then think along, and go and read Michelle's posts as well, and not just read it and go, that's really bad. There was a great picture I saw, or cartoon, which was that hacktivism stuff, which was it was a cartoon of a block of flats, lots of people hanging out the flats, and someone was down on the street was being robbed. And it was like, oh, help me. And all the people that were hanging out, they had little cartoon bubbles coming out of them. One said, oh, I've tweeted this, hashtag save, hashtag terrible, and there was lots of all the online-y stuff that we do.
So everyone's outraged.
Everybody was outraged.
Right. But no one did anything.
But no one actually did anything, exactly. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay, grand. So that's the challenge, is go read the Kathy Sierra and the Michelle's posts, and there's lots of it around as well. Women particularly talking about what it is like to be in tech. I got a tweet from someone this week that said, probably on the back of one of the links that I sent out, said, I'd love my daughter. She's got the skills. My daughter's got the skills to work in IT, but I just don't want her to join the New Zealand Boys Club.
Right.
And so there it is.
There's already deterrence.
Yeah, it's stopping quite possibly.
Well, that's my next question was
daughters and women getting into tech.
How many women are in tech anyway that we know of? Is there any way to find out? Just to say, hey, there's this many people. There's a big talent pool here, but they're at this part of the spectrum. Why aren't there other parts of the spectrum?
Well, we've done that on one of our podcasts, which was no, you don't remember the New Zealand Wiki, the Wiki New Zealand.
Yeah,
they had women in tech, and it stopped very quickly. I'll tweet out again and find out what episode it was on. But yeah, there's basically not many, not many at all. There were 3 job titles that had half and half. And then the rest, the other 15 job titles, just got less and less and less until you got to like CIOs and stuff, and it was like 6 women and 5,000 men, or whatever it was. It was shocking. So, challenge: go read, but don't just read. Stop and think about actually what you can do about it, and don't just be outraged and tweet. I don't know. Go talk to a woman and say, what can I do? Just do something. And if you're a woman, and I suspect the answer here is, and I've spoken to a few of them, is get out of the way. Don't ask me, just get out of the way. Drop your prejudices, just get out of the way and don't try and solve it for us. And if you're Microsoft's Nadal, whatever his name is.
Satya Nadella.
Oh, he did the classic. Did you see that this week?
Yeah. And then he backpedaled a little bit on the Twitter.
Oh, my God.
Then someone else posted about that. It was a little bit out of context, and he actually hires a lot of women himself, and he's trying to say that, that's a good thing. But I think the way he articulated it was just rubbish.
didn't come out well.
Yeah.
But anyway.
For a CEO, come on,
That's good. So there you go. That's the 2 focuses for this week. We've got, is your industry dying? And if you're a man, you should get out of the way and let women do stuff. I don't know what get out of the way means, but do something about it, guys.
Right, on to events. This week I wanted to focus on the NZ Entrepreneur Club. For something I found on meetup.com.
NZ Entrepreneur Club, okay.
They say they are a supportive community of individuals who are currently in the process of building new businesses and startups. Their next meetup is on Wednesday, the 22nd of October, 5:30 in Wellington. For further details, because I don't give you the location unless you join the group, are on meetup.com/NZ Entrepreneur Club.
Very cool. And the other one I've got is the Barcamp. Barcamps, mate. Remember those?
I know those.
DevMob. Now, this is actually one that I think happens all over possibly the world or the country. But this year's one is in Wellington. So DevMob 2014 is November the 22nd and 23rd at Samuel Marsden Collegiate School here in Wellington. What's it about? I'll read it out. Building or selling mobile apps, dev, designer, UX, marketing. So are you an iOS coder, a web designer, a Windows 8 entrepreneur?
Is there one of those?
I'm sure he'll turn up. An Android expert, then it says you are DevMob. It's free. It's sponsored so that you get fed and watered, but it will have limited spaces. So get across to devmob, devmob.co.nz, sign up, put your name on the list, and go along and meet fellow developers and the like. I found that because we started following each other at the Hack Miramar, which is the 1st and 2nd of November out here in Miramar. We started following each other and went, oh my God, it's Barcamp Hackathon November. Obviously, it's the thing to do.
Oh, we have to come up with some sort of slogan.
We will. We will. So, yeah, the Barcamp, the Hack Miramar is almost full. I think there's a waiting list now, but we are looking for sponsors for lunches so we can feed everyone, and data. So anyone's got any data, we're still working on that. That's the 2 events.
That's cool.
I snuck one in.
That's nice. Cheeky plug's always funny. I like it. Now, our interview for the week, Andy Wigley. We met Andy at Tech Ed a few weeks ago. He's what they call a Microsoft evangelist.
He is.
We asked him what that actually means, as well as a few other things. And here he is. Yes, so welcome, Andy. Andy Wigley's with us from Microsoft.
I am.
Yeah, it's Microsoft DX.
Microsoft DX, yeah, that's Developer Experience.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a new name for DPE, which is Developer and Platform Experience.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, we're there to support developers, and we stand up and do technical talks, and we help people overcome problems, and we write technical blogs, and we're just generally on Twitter, on social media, engaging with developers. Yeah,
that's quite interesting. Yeah, getting the developer community a bit more integrated and chatting away.
That's right. Yeah.
So my first question was, Andy, what makes you happy?
Makes me happy. What makes me happy? That's a tough question. No, I mean, it's not a tough question. Lots of things make me happy. I mean, I love. I particularly love getting my hands on the new stuff and finding out what it can do, because you know what it's like when a new SDK comes along. You get a bit of information, but you need to really get in and build stuff and find out exactly what you can do and push it until it breaks. And so, that's why I love doing that.
It's the break stuff.
And then tell the world.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I love doing. And then, once you've figured out some way, I mean, not necessarily on your own, there's the fantastic developer community out there, and, you're bouncing stuff off people. And but if you can figure out how to do something cool and then share it in a conference talk or a blog or something, that's a pretty nice thing to do. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Actually, it's much easier than writing out, finishing, shipping stuff, I mean, let's be honest here. Let's be honest here, the fun stuff, solving the technical problem that's the fun bit, and then you've got to kind of get it ship ready, and that's,
And then you get into the process and the way it goes.
Yeah.
And I've always thought, code sort of just fades away from you in the distance. You go, it's my baby. And then eventually you see it on something. Oh, there you are. Oh, nice to see you again. All grown up. I'm breaking to my house now.
You've moved on from that.
Yeah.
So you're here talking specifically about mobile apps, is that?
Universal apps. Yeah. So So I've been doing a load of work with Windows Phone 8.1, and the big thing about that was the convergence with the Windows 8.1 storage platform. So we've now got one platform where you can easily build stuff out for both.
Yeah.
And I've also been doing some stuff with Xamarin, which again is the same idea, kind of finding that common sharing code and actually spreading it out to build mobile apps running on various different kinds of clients. So that's pretty interesting, the way that's all going at the moment. So I've done a load of videos for Microsoft. They're up on Channel 9, and they've been turned into a Microsoft Virtual Academy course. So
very cool.
If anybody's got 2.5 days of spare time, go and watch them, because there's masses of it. It's such a huge release this time around. It was massive. So so they're up on Channel 9.
What are the particular challenges that you've had you have faced, and then hopefully, of course, overcame?
Around the phone 8.1.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of just making that shift. If you were a phone developer and you've been building for Windows Phone up till now, you learnt the way of doing things. And this new stack, it's kind of, we've shifted we keep pushing our developer community and saying, you thought you knew everything? Well, just come with us, because we've got something better to show you around the corner. But there's always that learning curve, and it's the same for me as it is for everybody. It's just getting under the skin of it, figuring out. I get very early visibility of the new platform, and they're still building it, and you're trying to build stuff, and stuff doesn't work, and this API doesn't work, and you email the program manager and the team says, "Oh yeah, we haven't shipped that bit yet." So it can be kind of frustrating trying to build out training content, because what I'm focused on is telling the world about this and showing how cool it all is. But yeah, it can be challenging when stuff's still being built to actually figure out get the bigger picture and stand back from it all. And usually I build loads of stuff, and actually then we're about to, you might be 6 weeks away from doing actually nailing down the content and getting these videos into shape and the demos, and you suddenly think, oh yeah, you get one of these, oh I get it moments, and something that hadn't seemed important before, you couldn't quite figure out what that bit was about, you suddenly think, oh actually that's a really cool feature, I need to emphasise that a bit more. So it's always your understanding of the platform, because it's so broad, it's shifting all the time, so it's interesting, it's a good journey.
A constant journey as well, Oh,
God.
And also once it's out there, the feedback that comes back, and oh, did you know you could do this? Oh, actually,
and it's massively changed all the time. I mean, just as an example of that, I did a session in the Jumpstart which was about NFC and Bluetooth LE, which was kind of interesting, and I did a couple of demos, and it made it all look super simple and everything, as these things do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but in actual fact, we've not been able to do anything. In order to do that, I had an HTC phone, Windows phone, which was able to do the Bluetooth LE stuff. But at the time we shipped, none of the Nokia Lumias, which of course are like 98% of the phones out there, could do it. Simply because at the end, sort of last year, when we shipped GDR3 Update 3 for Windows Phone 8, they on the Lumias, Nokia shipped, and they were independent then, of course, at that time. They shipped a programming layer for Bluetooth LE that worked. So we had cool apps coming out like Adidas My Coach, which could sync to a Bluetooth LE, wearable, which was great and really nice. But that stuff is still in the firmware. So any phones that have been updated through the dev preview, Nokia Lumias, they still had this old Bluetooth LE stack on them, and you couldn't do any of the new stuff. And now they're finally this update has been rolling out to all the phones out there, and bit by bit it's dropping into place, and the new Lumia Cyan update, which is the firmware update that kind of undoes that stuff and allows the proper stuff to work, is finally getting out there. So it's like there's been this, everybody wants to do it. Oh, we're sorry, we can't just do it just yet. So it's been a bit of a long journey. And then the NFC stuff, there's loads of really great stuff. I believe some other company announced something with NFC this week. Some other big tip.
Oh yeah, they might have said something.
Yeah,
the other day.
We'll never use NFC. I do believe Apple said.
I think that's what it was.
Well, they're finally on board. I mean, but we've been able to do it for ages. But even so, there's some new scenarios where we can do things like use it as a transit card or as an access card, which demanded a lower level, different kind of NFC access than we could do under Windows Phone 8 devices. So the phones actually need a new chipset to support some of these more advanced scenarios.
Okay, yeah.
And there are none available on the market at the moment. But I think we announced some new Lumias last week. I think.
Yes.
The 8, whatever it is, the 830, is it?
I couldn't tell you what the numbers were.
I remember keep hitting us with these numbers. Yeah. Anyway, the new top end phone. I haven't got confirmation of that, but I'm pretty sure that will have this new NFC chipset. So bit by bit, everything's kind of dropping into place, and we can start exploring a bit more what we can do about that. And that's all, this Internet of Things. I saw a Gartner graph. It's right at the top of the peak of hype expected.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're all going, oh, this is the next best thing. But it is. It's super interesting. But that's all tied in with all of that.
So the Internet of Things, I mean, it's sort of it's not a whole new category at all. And we just been talking with Johnny and Chris from Indigen about that. And Chris was talking now, it's been around for ages, it's just got cheaper now, and we can actually, and not like a $1 million company can do something with a $50,000 machine. It's like, it can be in the phone, or it can be stuck on the bottom of a bus, or whatever. And it's that wave of stuff that's coming. And I suppose the question was, it's like, well, is it separate to mobile? Is it different to mobile? It's all computing, it's all...
Yeah, well, no, I think it's expanding that web of information, isn't it? And the smartphone just becomes a consolidator, a switch for all of this stuff, the phone could be reading data directly through Bluetooth LE off a sensor, or a heart rate monitor or thermometer or anything that does a Bluetooth LE service. So the phone actually becomes the channel to the internet in that case, or the phone becomes you could have all these smart sensors that are sending all their data up to the cloud, and there's this new stuff coming into Azure, this ISS integrated, it's all interesting, which acts as a big kind of repository for all this sensor data. And then your devices then become, in that case, they become a consumption device, so visualizing all this information. But it is crazily exciting, I think. All this data is coming from everywhere, and the smartphone becomes a portable computing device that allows you to make sense of all of this data
and do stuff with it. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, home automation is a classic example. You were saying how it's getting cheaper. Geeks are interested in this. We all looked at this a few years ago and say,
Sterling Moss is the one I always remember.
Oh, yeah?
Sterling Moss in the 60s, Formula 1 racing driver from Britain. And he had, in the 60s, because he was fairly wealthy, he created his home automation, and his bed would come up and stuff. But it would be click.
Yes.
It was that.
And how much did that cost him to do?
Oh, yeah. He had to be a Formula 1 racing driver to be able to do this. Yeah, and that's how I always think of it. And then there was sort of nothing, and then, as you were saying...
That's right. But now it's getting cheap enough, now that people can seriously start thinking, I'd like to do this.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we're renovating a Welsh chapel up in the mountains in Wales at the moment, and it's going to be a big holiday home. And I'm in charge of the tech, of course, all the techie stuff, and the underfloor heating and the ventilation and all this sort of thing. And I say, we need to be able to control this from remotely. It's all got to be. It's going to be a smart place, a smart building. This, and she's kind of looking at me skeptically because I've made her go through over the years. She's had to test various betas of stuff, She said it just needs to work.
Yes. Whatever you do.
And it needs to be simple, and it needs to work. And yeah, absolutely. So, but that's us, geeks, we love playing with all this stuff, but sometimes it's a little bit too bleeding edge, isn't it?
They just want it to be, I do that and it does that. Good, that's all I want to know.
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
But I want to know how to do that again.
I suppose we're at that point where we can look our respective partners in the eyes and go, look, I know last time.
Yes.
I said, but this time...
Yeah, this time is
we
different.
actually can do these things.
Yeah. I used to have do you remember Windows Media Center?
I do.
Yes, so I inflicted that on my family.
Yeah.
And, it had a lot of good features, but I did get feedback because to turn it on, they used to turning the telly on and the telly comes on. It was this thing, it kind of had this starting and all this sort of thing, and they didn't like it.
I'll be there, I'll be with you in a minute. It's like, no, I don't want the music anymore, I've moved on.
Sorry,
I'm moving out now.
Yeah.
So what's the things that you're working on now, or not working, I suppose, that the tech community industry is thinking they really need to get this?
Yeah, I mean, it's very much around, I think where we're at, for me anyway, what I'm interested in, and I like to think I tend to be reflecting the people I'm speaking to and devs out there, is we all want to use our favourite languages, our favourite tools, and we all love Visual Studio, and we love, well, not everybody does, but people I speak to tend to, but it is the best IDE out there, and so if you want to use your favourite tools, whatever that is, but we want to be able to create mobile apps that are running easily on more than one platform. We are living in this multi-platform world, and people more and more want to be able to use the skills that they know and love, but be able to target more platforms. So, our universal apps for our particular platforms is obviously a part of that. So, with 8.1 now, we can pretty easily create nice apps and create a nice thin view of UIs that shine on the tablet and that shine on the phone, and that's great. And that meets a lot of needs of our customers. But then there's also a lot of other enterprises that also want to target iOS and Android as well. And they don't really want to train 3 different skill sets, have 3 different dev teams. Yeah. So they want to be able to. How can we? This idea of universal apps in a kind of loose sense, and having how much can we write this stuff once and reuse it? And this is the holy grail everybody's been after for forever.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, I remember 20 years ago using 4th generation languages and all this kind of computer generated systems. Yeah. And we've been after this thing forever, but it's getting to the point now. I think there's some interesting stuff out there like Xamarin, like Cordova, that are doing a good job of it. They're starting to get to be professional quality tools and solutions that allow people to do that. So I'm doing a bit of work at the moment. I'm reviewing a book. I've got an email from a guy at Microsoft Press recently, because I used to write books in the old days. Don't do it anymore. It's too, life of a book now is, even when you've written the last word and reviewed it, it's already obsolete. And you're thinking, well, what's the point of this? So this is why I tend to do webcasts and videos. It's a bit, it's not quite so painful to produce, and it doesn't quite hurt so much when it's already obsolete. You can just record a new one. So, but yeah, anyway, Microsoft Press are publishing a book on Xamarin Forms by the legend Charles Petzold, who wrote one of the biggest selling Windows books back in the days when tech books used to really sell.
Yeah.
But he's writing one on Xamarin Forms, and I'm doing tech review on it, which is great. It allows me to learn the technology at the same time. So that's that's interesting stuff. It's a V1 product at the moment, but they've got such energy, that company, that it's only going to get better very quickly.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And that's really interesting. That allows people to use C# and XAML, tools that developers love to use, and yet you can write apps that are running on Android and iOS as well. So
that's cool to hear, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is that.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that we've talked about all the time. I mean, fundamentally, I've got an Android and you've got an Apple, and we give each other heaps about it. And
that's fun.
It shouldn't matter.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't matter.
And also we need to embrace. There's no one platform's absolutely heads and shoulders better than any others. They're all good.
Yeah.
And people, we need to respect people's preferences, but we need to make life for our developers as easy as possible to allow them to roll the apps out to those different platforms. So that's where we're getting to.
Fantastic.
So I think it's good. Yeah.
Is the hardest change around that? I mean, I'm about to denigrate the technical change. Oh, that's easy. Obviously, that'll be done by next Tuesday. Is the mind shift? I see myself as writing for this platform. This is what I do. This is what my company does. And now you're trying to make me do other things. So that's where the tech will help. But is it the mind shift as well?
Well, but this is where you're kind of but what you're doing is you're allowing that the mind shift only needs to extend to how do I create a good UI that runs on an iPhone. And actually, Xamarin Forms abstracts all that away even. So you're just building your UI once, and the kind of middleware takes care of rendering it appropriate using the native controls on each platform. So it's not an HTML5 thing. You are using the native controls, so you get a nice, proper native experience. But you're writing that once. The other way of doing it with Xamarin is you're actually building specifically UIs using the native APIs on each platform. Yep. And if you want the full, you really want to get the full power of the UI capabilities, then that's what you're going to want to do. But for a lot of things, maybe enterprise LOB apps that don't need to look absolutely fantastic, they just need to work, or for proof of concepts, then an abstraction like Xamarin Forms is great. But for the developers, well, they're happy because it's just another.
Doing their thing.
Yeah, all it is. Yeah, they're still working in C# and they're still working in XAML, and this is where they feel comfortable and they love it. So you're not asking them to learn Objective C or something, which would be too far of a jump for most people. But they're staying within the skills that they're comfortable, and they're expanding out the number of targets they can reach with these tools. So this is great. Nothing wrong with that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, we appreciate your time, eh? I assume you've got many other things to do today.
I've got to write. I'm going to write a blog post. I've been asked by our team in the UK. They want to write something on putting speech integration into your app, so you can talk to Cortana, our speech enablement on the phone. Talk through to Cortana and actually make your app do stuff. So cool. I'm going to write something up on that. But,
that sounds like a 5-minute job.
Well, it'll be a little bit longer than that, but I'm definitely going to make space for the closing drinks at this afternoon for this conference. So
fantastic.
I'll be downstairs for that. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Andy, for coming on Access Granted. We appreciate that.
It's been great fun. Thanks
Wonderful.
very much.
Cheers, Andy.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks.
Cool. That was an excellent interview with Andy. He was actually one of my favourite interviewees from TechEd. The phrase Microsoft have lots and lots of very clever people in there. It's necessarily that they don't have a plan where they're going and they don't execute it, and that proved the point. Andy was an excellent person that anybody in tech would love to have on their team. Fantastic interview.
Yeah.
Right, call to action. Go to Twitter. You're all on Twitter. Do a search for #AccessGranted, then save it. That's how you now see our quote-unquote show notes list.
Yeah, we've got a special deal with Twitter. We just sorted it out quite quickly, and it's quite nice. Shout-outs. Well, thanks again to those who've given us amazing feedback.
Absolutely.
We've used it. We've got it on board, as the management says, and we're going with it. And it makes us a bit more slicker show and a better show.
Hopefully. So let us know. Let us know how it's going for you. Next week, we're going to have another Tech Ed interview. We've got a few quite large ones, actually. So poor Roger's got some work cut out to try and either chop them down, or we'll just be really, really short next week and we'll just get straight into the interview.
Maybe,
yeah.
So, and as always, don't take our jibber jabber as gospel. All the links are on our Twitter feed, as you know.
That's right. So on Twitter, you can look for me at Miramar Mike, and Raj is at NZRaj, where you'll find our daily #Access Granted updates. If you're desperate to email us, by all means use access granted at #me.co.nz. And for all the hashtag goodness, such as updates, newses, prizes, and much more, go to the #me.co.nz website.
That's nice. We have plural newses.
Yes.
Thanks for your time, and see you next Tuesday with the Kiwi Tech News for those who make the computers do what they do. Ka kite anō.
#me.co.nz